Hey everyone, this is Gunslinger, and I felt it would be useful to some people if I made a commentary or critique of my completion of Greater F42 on hardcore. Right off the bat, I'm hit by a Molten Mortar Fast Golgor Champ. Because of the way I handled it, it caused me to burn all my vaults, because you don't want to be trapped between an elite pack and the door if you want to have a hope at rift completion. And immediately after, I let 2 projectiles hit me in the face like an idiot, which forced me to use all my potions in the first 20 seconds of the rift. This forced me to play really defensively for the next 20 to 30 seconds and not establish turrets in the middle area or draw in pockets of enemies into my turrets, which is a big DPS loss. Now I've got my turrets all set up, and this map shows why it's so sweet, because it's got this big open area, and if you got good density you can shoot a ton of things with plenty of space to still run around yourself. Right here I make a really questionable potion usage because I still had a good third of my life left and knew there wasn't anything inbound that could proc me and that my Templar would heal me in just a second or two, so that was definitely a mistake. This next elite pack was a Waller Teleporter Lacuni Slashers, and they deal lots of damage in their multi-attack moves, so I was concerned about getting trapped behind a wall and having one teleport next to me and wreck my face, so I made sure to flee fast from any walls they threw down. And there I used the wall to kind of protect me from them, since I knew they couldn't just walk past and would have to teleport. But at this point I was getting kind of worried, because here was a layout that I knew to be favorable and had good density, but I was only 20% in, or I was 20% in, but only barely keeping progress with the progress bar, which isn't good enough. So I was kind of looking to pick up the pace and definitely didn't want to lose any more time. Here I run into Elite Thunderstorm Mortar Lacuni Slashers, which is a pretty scary combo of range damage, and so you absolutely have to stay on the move. You want to be moving forward as often as possible, so usually the best way to do so when some elites are blocking the path is to lure them towards you enough so that when you vault past them, you'll end up, and are then low on discipline, you're roughly where they started, which should be fairly unoccupied, so you have the option to set up more aggressive turrets to hit and draw in new targets, or just passively place them kind of back more to keep shooting at the elites you're already engaged with. here I had engaged a Elite Thunderstorm. Oop, no, wrong one. Molten Electrified Fallen, with shielding Molten Electrified Fallen, which is a fairly unholy trifecta of affixes. And as you see some examples, don't be afraid to roll kind of straight into danger, as long as you know you have the discipline to keep rolling past it, because otherwise you'll too often lose out on good positioning. And yeah, our sentries do the vast majority of our damage, but if you find the opportunity to do some manual damage, absolutely fire frost arrows at targets. And also there, I rolled through Molten twice just to make sure I could get those progress points faster, which probably saved me about 5 seconds, which with 4 seconds to spare in my greater if runs means I might not have made it if I hadn't chosen to fall through that Molten. So don't be afraid to take calculated risks like that. You know how long Molten takes, so just don't be in there when it goes off. And those are just some extra health mortars, easy peasy. And I knew this way was the way forward, and that often an elite would be sitting in this area, so I tried a bit harder to find and pull one into the main area. Now, while I was still a bit ahead on the progress bar, it wasn't by a ton, and I was getting worried because I knew there was only one section in this good layout left that was a big open area, and there's a long corridor both before and after it, and the second one is usually empty, so a little bit of a progress drag. And then also level entrances are almost always bad for progress. And yeah, so here I encountered a Nightmarish Orbiter Electrified Fallen Champ in that corridor, which is scary set of affixes because the Electrified can proc to Nightmarish, which can make you run into a pile of death. You standing in close proximity is pretty much just saying, Jesus, take the wheel. So to have any chance, I drew them towards me and then vaulted past, as I mentioned before, and I ran into a second elite pack, which, while still trapped in the corridor, and engaging multiple elites is the best way to have progress, but in a narrow corridor where the first pack is already dangerous is not the place. So I pulled both packs back, and when I was at max discipline, I vaulted past and made my way to the open area. So now after I took that risk, now I'm sitting pretty. See a shrine, but it's a speed, the worst of the shrines, but in this case still useful since I know I have that long empty corridor after this part, so I can use that to run through there as quick as possible without wasting all my discipline. And one nice thing was right as I killed one of those elite packs, found another one, so pretty extended period where I'm battling 2 elite packs at a time, which suits me just fine. And I was having an absolute blast in this area because while I was worried about my progress before, being able to set up here and have 3 elite packs at kind of once, I knew would really help my progress, and to be honest, it was just a lot of fun. Had good adrenaline flow, my hands were all nice and warmed up. And yeah, even with the speed pylon, it still takes about 10 seconds to get from the pylon to the next mob, so definitely hate that corridor. Worse is there's usually a mob sitting at the end that you have to kill in hardcore for safety's sake in case you need to jump back, which I did in this case because teleport electric, and I made the mistake of sitting still and then got screwed up and got hit twice more, and so I had to back out, teleport to heal, lose all my turrets, so I was pretty bummed at this point and definitely didn't know how good of a chance I'd have. At this point I was just thinking of the 30 to 40 times I had tried Greater Rift 42 before this and gotten terrible layouts every single time. I believe this was only the second time I had gotten the caverns layout and had terrible monsters the first time. So I didn't, and I hate grinding keys, grift keys, so I didn't want to do that, so I just steeled my resolve and decided to go as kind of balls out as I could. That's why I keep pushing in pretty deep to try to lure in more monsters. And the last elite pack is a bunch of oppressors. Good lord, do I hate these things. And this is almost certainly a mistake, but I put myself in a corner and just basically hoped that my pets would be enough to block them, and was trying to leverage that to get in good long-range turret shots. But of course, oppressors love to charge in an instant and one-shot proc you with a hit that's way harder than Jailer or Arcane, or it's pretty much in Rift Guardian strength shot. So I decided to stick it out against the Rift Guardian Infernal Maiden, but I waste a whole ton of time by being afraid, running around, not wanting to have her do her teleport attack on me while my proc is on cooldown. And so I only take out about a quarter of her life in the first minute of the engagement, which is definitely not good enough to get me the completion in time. And yeah, I'm about 75% certain that I won't finish it all at this point. But obviously want to keep trying. Set up my turrets at a good range after I'm off cooldown and just chill. Try to fire frost arrows whenever I feel I have the mana. And the rest is history. So some of the pros to this grift were the great open layout, great density. I didn't encounter any jailer packs, and got a speed pylon in a place where it actually helped a fair bit, and got lucky with the exit of caverns at the last of the 4 kind of pods that I visited. The cons were a challenging entrance to both level 1 and 2, and lots of guys with projectile or ranged attacks. None of the juicy red zombies, and no power or conduit or cooldown pylon. And one of the things I definitely feel I could have done better is a bit more frequent usage of my companion active ability. Off the back of these, I feel confident that I could do a lot better, so hopefully I can show you a better video in the future. Thanks for watching.